It's on live now. How about intro you guys? Right? Yeah, it's on live. Let me know the audio's all set up. Should be live.
Fucking slobber.
Watch out, Grayson. Hey, Jack, Grayson.
Great. What is that?
Quick ball.
That's a little slobber.
No, on the Grayson.
Just a little slobber. Never heard me. All
right, I want to put the camera right here, real quick, Steven. I'm just gonna do an intro.
What is little Q&A or what?
Yeah, Q&A. Just share story, give tips about real estate. I'm gonna put it all up on here. The questions. I just want to do an intro real quick for everybody.
You just leave the little. You just leave the little function, and then we'll just throw a little something. You just made me look.
I guess so. We just have that one after too. Okay. Do the intro first real quick. Yo. All right, 1 second. Open it up. All right, good. All right, real quick, guys. Let me know in the comments if the audio sounds good. Let me know. Should I pull this up?
But what?
Pull this up real quick.
Yeah, you should.
It's kind of dope. All right, real quick, guys. Let me know in the comments. Does the audio sound good? Can you guys see? Are you here? Where are you tuning in from? Comment below. Looking good? All right, cool. So right now, guys, I'm actually with my first mentor ever and his business partner. So Nick and Octavius, they have built a 7-figure real estate empire, absolutely crushing it. So they just drove all the way down from Hollywood right now, where their office is located, and they're working and closing deals all day. So they're going to be here right now, breaking down their business, how they make money, and answering your guys' questions. So for those of you guys that just got started today with In a Circle, congrats. We do multiple live calls like this, probably a couple times a week, once a week, twice a week, kind of just depends. So I hope everybody's here. I hope everybody's tuning in. I hope you guys have notebooks. You're ready to, take down a lot of notes. These guys are going to share a lot of information. And, really, it's really going to be, not super formal, really informal. They're just going to, break it down and be really raw, really real with you guys. Like if they're actually having a conversation face to face with you guys. I might drop a couple of F words on accident. Don't worry with it. Go with the flow. So with that said, I'll let you guys introduce yourself a little bit more and kind of take over from where I left off. Just let them know your spill, where you're from, a little bit of your background, and then I'm gonna pull up the comments right here so you guys can see those too.
Cool. Cool. Just make sure it's close by. Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll take a couple minutes to number one, introduce myself and just kind of give you a little bit of a background. I'm not gonna get in so much detail because we'll be here all night. But for those of you that are tuning in, first of all, probably one of the best decisions you could have ever made to be able to not only hear this information, but really be part of an exclusive network of successful entrepreneurs, not just people that are talking the talk, but actually walking the walk, that not only have the systems and the procedures and the business models and all that kind of good stuff, but really have the results that you seek. So congratulations for you guys that have made the decision to hop on this call tonight. And really, I'm sure a multitude of different calls after this with so many different successful entrepreneurs. I think my little brother, Eric, was on here a bunch of different times, successful ATM business. And now tonight you'll hear from myself and my business partner on just how we grew a multi-million-dollar real estate investment company in about a year and a half. So my name is Nick Lovano, originally from Los Angeles. First of all, came from a typical, normal, average household. Go to high school, get good grades. Go to college, get good grades. After college, go to a high-paying job. Yada yada yada. So I said, hey, if I'm gonna have to go to school, normally your parents are probably gonna pressure you to go to school, get good grades, go to college, get good grades, etc., etc., etc. So I chose to attend probably one of the biggest party schools in the country, SDSU. I said, hey, I'm young. I gotta go to school anyway. So guess what? I'm gonna go to one of the biggest party schools in the country. Ended up at San Diego State a couple of years back and had a phenomenal time. Long story short, I got kind of closer and closer and closer to graduation. And I was like, man, what the hell am I going to do after college, the quote unquote, the real world. So, I ended up, about 6 months before graduation, got introduced to entrepreneurship, got introduced to just successful people that weren't necessarily working a 9-to-5, but building businesses. Met a guy that was making a boatload of money and said, hey, man, what are you doing? How do I join, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And came to like a business meeting presentation. And I got introduced to direct sales, about 6 months before graduation. And I said, hey, shit, there's a system, there's a platform, there's tools that I can use to make money. And I don't have to work a job, and I can go meet people. And so I got involved in that particular industry, direct sales, MLM, whatever you want to call it. And within my first 9 months or so, got to the top 3% of that company, built sales teams of hundreds and thousands of people, got to travel the world, and had a lot of fun, made a lot of money. And fast forward 3 years, I kind of wanted to venture into a different industry. I felt like I had kind of got burnt out traveling and burnt out speaking and things of that nature. So I've always had an interest in real estate. And I've always been really good at sales. I've always been really good at people. I've always been really good at communication. And so I said, hey, what can I do? What can I sell? What can I put together? That's going to give me the biggest ROI, return on my investment, number one. And number two, going to give me the biggest return and the biggest profits. And so I said, hey, why don't I venture into this business called real estate? And actually met my business partner here in that MLM business. Prior, we linked up and, basically started 2 people in a small little office and grew to 15 plus employees. We grew to a multi-million-dollar company in a little bit less than 2 years. And now we have done, our business focuses on primarily assignments, which are wholesale deals, fix and flips, and we are now going to venture into major developments, ground developments of spec homes. And that's pretty much about it. I don't want to get too much into my story. That's not necessarily why you're here. I want to get more into the Q&A and more into what we actually do and how our business actually functions. But long story short, again, congratulations on not only being on this call, but taking that step to better yourself, better your future, and surround yourself among the elite people of your generation that actually have the real tangible results. So I'll pass it over to Octavius.
Hey, round of applause for my boy Nick. And again, guys, congratulations, man. All you guys are on here for a reason, and I think that it's perfect. I mean, what the setup that they have for you guys to bring so many different entrepreneurs in this one little setting, and for you guys to get elite level information that some of the top 3% of the world only gets access to is great, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my story. Octavius Bennett, and I'm 24 years old. I got involved in real estate about 3 years ago. I'm a little nervous because I never do this stuff, but I try to be real, so I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I dropped out of college. I said, you know what am I going to do next? My mom, she was upset with me. She was like, why are you dropping out of college? I said, you know what? I want to be an entrepreneur. So what I did was I became obsessed with studying the greats. I became obsessed with, how do I get from where I am now to, making $1 million? How do I get from where I am now only making $2,000, $3,000 a month to making $100,000 in a month? And so I studied, and then real estate kind of fell into my lap. Once I realized it was real estate, number one, finding the vehicle. Once I found my vehicle and realized that it was real estate, I said, you know what, I got to go all in. So what I did was I spent a lot of money on seminars, on coaching. I read so many books, and then I said, you know what, I think I got a little bit of knowledge. Let me go ahead and take action. I took action, and then, I failed over and over and over again. Got a little success. I failed again, and then I got partnered up with my partner, Nick, and then we created this $1 million real estate investment company. Like you said, we've grown it to where it is now. We eventually will do developments, ground-up developments, apartment complex developments, skyscrapers. That's pretty much the goal. I don't really have too much to say. I normally don't do these things, but I wanted to help out and support Josh and support Bunt and what they got going on. I know pretty much from what they were sharing with me, the next 6 months and the next year of what they have for this inner circle, if you're not in it, you're missing the boat. I truly think so. I mean, from kind of what we were talking about, it seems like they're going to be dropping more value than you have to pay for it. And so that's kind of why I'm here today, to try to share as much as possible, to try to give as much advice as possible, because you might be in that position to where it's so many different businesses that you don't know where you want to go. But I tell you what, man, if you plug into these things like we're doing right now, like you guys are doing right now, I guarantee you're going to find that one business. And then once you do find that business, lock in to somebody, lock into a mentor, and then go all the way with it. That's pretty much the only thing that we did, and we were able to become successful with it. So that's pretty much it. My story is very simple. I think I'm still living it, but I think if I was to give you one little piece of information, I think you're at the right place. I think you just have to, figure out which one particular business you want to move forward with, and then go all in with that business. So if you want to do real estate, I think you're at the right place. I think myself and my partner Nick, we can show you we can show you how we make $100,000 a month in business, and how, we can show you how we do the business virtually. We can show you how to scale it. And then if this is something that you want to do, go for it. But if not, I promise you, I guarantee you, I assure you that Jeff, that Josh, they're going to show you, they're going to introduce you to so many different businesses that, it's not going to be a problem. So you're definitely in the right place.
I'll say one last thing as we probably kick off the Q&A or whatever we have planned next. Is I actually met Josh maybe 2.5 years ago?
Yeah, 3.5.
3.5 years ago. And just for you guys that are a part of this network of people, I'm sure you have a multitude of friends that wish they're a part, or they need to probably be a part of this network of people. Met this guy about 3.5 years ago, and he was, I think, a senior in high school driving must have been like a 2001 Toyota Tacoma, something like that, weird. And he was going to school. And I think he was selling like T-shirts, gym T-shirts or something like that. And to be able to coach him and show him sales and show him communication, show him really just how to talk to people and just point him in the direction of just entrepreneurship, full-time entrepreneurship, and see what has happened since then is really phenomenal, because not too many people, started that way and have those real, tangible, actual fucking results. I think life and business is about one thing and one thing only, is just results, right? Results oriented, results driven. And what have you done for me lately? And I think, for you guys being a part of this network and the multitude of people that will join from this point on forward, working with people that have the real, actual, tangible results. And I think that is a big part of entrepreneurship and a big part of life.
Yeah, guys, to add to that, I mean, I know there's a lot of pretenders out there on the internet, and there's a lot of people who just, talk a big game. But if you don't have the results, I mean, I wouldn't listen to those guys, So definitely have the results here. Definitely make it happen. Definitely have the money coming in. So just lock arms with these guys and learn as much as possible. And then most importantly, take action. Without a plan and without an action, you're just going to be sitting on the couch. You're not going to be going anywhere. So definitely take action with everything that you hear.
So get after that shit. Someone started to look like Eric.
Talks like Eric.
Look better looking though, right? Better looking, right? I think. So anyways,
Dad.
Like I could be Eric. I'm actually Eric's younger brother. So Eric's my older brother, ATM ATM King. So anyways, we'll kick it off. What do you want? A little Q&A?
Yeah. So real quick, Mike. So for somebody who doesn't know anything about real estate. So what I'll do right now, guys, is I'm going to ask a few questions because I'm not that involved in real estate. I'm still learning. This guy right here is teaching me. These guys are showing me the way. So I'm going to ask some questions that if I was just getting started and I wanted to learn how to build a 7-figure real estate business, where would I start? So pretty much, yeah. If I
maybe just start with breaking down the different types of real estate you guys do. For example, wholesaling, flipping.
Okay.
And then the base process to get started with each one.
So there's kind of 3 little departments to our business, right? We do something called assignments, right? Which we get a property under contract, then we assign that piece of paper for a fee. So the average fee could be about $20,000 to $25,000. We've done like 60, 75 of those deals, over the course of the last year. Another way that we do it is something called wholesaling.
Yeah. So pretty much a wholesale deal is where you actually physically buy the property, but you don't fully do a rehab. So for example, you find an off-market property. All of our properties, we don't necessarily have. We've never used the real estate agent. We have our own marketing department, and we have several different forms of marketing that we use, and we'll get into that here in just a second. But we find an off-market property, okay? And instead of doing an assignment, we actually take physical ownership of that particular property, and then we do like a light, what we like to call lipstick rehab, meaning anywhere between $3,000 to maybe $7,000. Maybe a clean out, maybe some brand new windows, maybe some little bit of landscaping, and then boom, slap it right back on the MLS, slap it on the market with only doing a minimal, tiny bit of work. And then the agent goes to work and sells the property, and we make a profit. So you have assignments, and then you have wholesale, and he'll get into a little bit of fix and flip.
Yeah, so you have fix and flip. Fix and flip is when you actually do a real renovation to the property, meaning that you add substantial amount of value. You change the bathrooms, you change the floors, you change the roof, you probably put in anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 worth of work into it. That's kind of flip and fix. You know, you guys probably seen these shows, Fix These Houses or Flip and Flop or whatever you call those shows. That's fix and flip. And then the last thing that we're getting into is what you call development. So that's kind of what everybody wants to work their way up. It's kind of like a conveyor belt system where you start at wholesale deals, then you kind of get up to the fix and flip, then you kind of get up to, you know, the buy and hold rentals, and then you get up to, if you want to, up to the developments. So that's where we're at now. We're at the point where we're starting to branch off into development. So we've done all 4 of these, and then that's pretty much the process. The only difference between the two, the wholesale or assignment deal and then the hotel deal, is that it takes about a little longer. It takes about maybe 25% longer from start to finish to do a hotel deal versus a wholesale deal. But the profit's going to be anywhere from 30 to 70% more than what you would if you're just flipping the actual contract.
So before we get into a couple questions, I see some popping up already. I'm assuming the majority of people are probably going to want to start with wholesale assignments. Okay. The reason why we say that is because not a lot of you guys most likely don't have the money or can't qualify for hard money loan to be able to fund those rehabs. You know, or you don't have the money to take down a property and then do a lipstick rehab and then put it back on the market. So if you're brand new and you're, 17, 18, 19, 20 or whatever it is, and you're saying, hey man, I want to get involved in real estate. I want to make money. I know it's a booming business. I'm always walking around real estate. Right now we're in a big apartment complex. It's real estate. You go to Best Buy, you're in real estate. You go to, you're at your home right now, your parents' house, wherever you are, you're sitting in real estate. We're constantly in real estate. It's not going anywhere. It's a physical, tangible object that will never, ever leave this earth, right? Land, they're not making any more land, right? And so a lot of you guys are saying, hey, I want to get in real estate. Number one, I don't know anything. Number two, I don't have any money, okay? Number one, there's multitude of different coaches I would recommend, and if you DM me or probably sometime during this coaching call, we can recommend a couple people that are knowledgeable and actually have the real results and aren't going to BS you. Number one, find a coach. Number two, you're probably going to want to start with assignments, okay? You can spend, there's multitude of different marketing channels. What you're doing is you're trying to find an deeply discounted off-market property, okay? To be able to assign it to an investor so that they can flip it and you can make that profit. With that profit, you can choose to invest it back into your business, which we highly recommend to be able to find more and more assignment deals from assignments. Then I would probably recommend to jump into some wholesale deals and then possibly some fix and flip. This is just for kind of the majority of you guys who are 18, 19, 20 years old who don't necessarily have the money or capital or knowledge to be able to fund a big rehab project or even a hotel deal and take down a particular property. So I would just suggest start with assignment deals. And the biggest thing you want to do when you know you want to get into real estate and you want to do an assignment or a wholesale deal, marketing. Pick a marketing channel and hit that shit hard and find that first property. Once you find the first one, you know it's real, you know it works, you're off to the races. And so,
as far as marketing, I think that's really the key to the business. Yeah. As far as marketing is the key to the business, I mean, the way we got started is door knocking foreclosures. So well, you'll pull a list of foreclosures, right? There's plenty of websites that we can name a few. One of the websites is called Property Radar. You can go to propertyradar.com. You can pull a list of foreclosure properties, properties that have an auction date coming up within the next 20 days. And once you pull that list, what you want to do is go knock on their door and just be like, hey, I wanted to see if I can help you with the situation with the bank. And then, you got to kind of win them over. You kind of got to know how to win friends, influence people, be kind to them, be a little, like obviously you want to get the sale, but be kind to them because they're going through a situation with the bank. But once you get their property under contract, you can then sell that contract for higher than what you got it under contract for. Then you take your spread once the close of escrow is completed. So that's pretty much. Let's answer some of these questions. I think and
we don't want to, and again, we're going to kind of slow it down because I can talk extremely fast and get into great depth and detail and confuse the shit out of a lot of people. So we're going to try and keep this as simple as humanly possible. And then after this call, we could probably connect, maybe choose a couple of you guys to maybe come down to LA or come to the office or whatever it is and really maybe and maybe get more in depth for a couple of you serious students and things of that nature. But we're going to try and get it as get this call to be as simple as humanly possible. So yeah, we'll probably jump into it.
As far as Elizabeth, is Property Radar for all 50 states? No, Property Radar is only for California, I think Nevada, in like 3 other states. It's not for all 50 states.
Urban Infinity, is that why I see signs that say we buy houses cash? Yeah, so that is a marketing channel, okay? They're called bandit signs, right? And you know, depending on some of your resources, you can get those things for dirt cheap. And to put them up, if you do it yourself, costs absolutely $0. The only thing you're spending money on is the actual material. And if you're resourceful as shit, you can find this material for dirt cheap. Here in LA, we have this place called Downtown LA, a bunch of warehouses that sell that type of cardboard to produce those We Buy Houses signs. Get a Sharpie, We Buy Houses, put a phone number on there, and hopefully start receiving some calls from some potential buyers. When it comes to bandit signs, that's a form of marketing. My biggest recommendation is have a partner to be able to help you, because doing that shit by yourself is too much work. And you need a lookout partner, because in some places, depending on where you're from, that shit is illegal. But number 2, have a partner. Number 3, make sure that you're picking specific areas where you could find those quote unquote fixer-uppers. Like, I'm not going to put a bandit sign in Beverly Hills. I'm not going to put a bandit sign in West Hollywood. You know, talking more specifically LA. But would I put a bandit sign in like a place called West Covina, California, or maybe a place called Lancaster, California, or Palmdale, California? Yes. You know, I know that some of you guys don't necessarily know where those places are because you're all over the country, all over the world. Google it.
A couple more questions. Randy, have y'all gotten any deals from Driving for Dollars? You know what? No, we never did, do we? No, we never got a deal from them. But I know plenty of people who do get deals from Driving for Dollars. Do you sell foreclosure property to, who do you sell the foreclosure? So what you want to do is you want to generate a cash buyer list, right? You want to find people who, you can find these people at the auction. So every city has an auction that they auction off properties that when people don't pay their bills from the bank auctions off the property, right? So what you can do is you can go talk to those people there and say, hey, look, you know what? I have a property under contract, deeply discounted. I wanted to see if you'd be open to taking a look at this one and you can buy it cash for me. Has an auction date coming up. And that's one of the easiest ways you guys can find cash buyers. It's just about strictly going to the auction. Initially, did you get a lawyer to make your contracts, or did you guys make it yourself? We had a lawyer do everything. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you can go Google real estate contract, and all you have to do is put and or assigns when you put the buyer field. Just put and or assigns.
I'll take one now. Let me say initially, okay. My area is booming in Florida, so I need to hear a little more in depth on an assignment. Okay, so I'm gonna try to explain on what an assignment is as clear as.
It's pretty much just owning the contract, right?
It's owning a contract. It's owning a contract. It's owning a piece of paper that gives you rights. That gives you the rights to assign it to somebody else. So an example, I find a quote unquote fixer upper, okay, and I'm not going to get into running comps and knowing that it's a deal and all that kind of good stuff right now. But let's just assume you find a house, you find a motivated seller, and you go up to this seller and you say, hey, I buy houses in this particular area, yada yada yada, and you make up an offer. Okay, let's just assume it's $100,000. Okay, so he's the seller. I market to him, whether it's a cold call, whether he calls one of my bandit signs, whether it's some type of internet marketing involved, whatever it is. And I say, hey, Mr. Seller, you know, I buy property. I'm interested in buying your particular property. And then you negotiate, whatever it is. And I say, hey, I can do $100,000 for this particular property. He says, okay, great. I want to sell the property. So what I would do is I have a purchase contract that I would send to him, that I would share with him, and he signs this particular purchase contract. Well, somewhere in this purchase contract, there's going to be the word and or assigns, okay? What that does is it gives me the right to assign it to somebody else. Okay, I have the property under contract for $100,000, and I know it's worth a lot more when it's fixed up. I have the cash buyers list. I start to market the property to a cash buyers list and say, hey, look, I have this property here, and I'm going to sell it to you, and I'm selling the rights to this contract for $120,000, okay? So I got the property under contract for $100,000, but I'm marketing it at $120,000, right? Cash buyers do their own due diligence, and one cash buyer says, hey, you know what, Nick or Sam or Carl or whoever the hell it is, I would love to purchase this property at $120,000, okay? So what happens is you create a compensation agreement, and everything, at least the way we do business, is done through an escrow company.
Yeah. Some states are closing it. You have attorneys, like in New York, you have to go through an attorney. It's a little bit harder. I think in Oklahoma, you have to do an attorney. It's a little bit harder. So certain states, depending on your jurisdiction, jurisdiction, what do you say? Jurisdiction, you got to do an assignment or you're going to go through a closing attorney.
So one of the best things you can do is probably YouTube what an assignment is to get even more into detail. I could get into the specifics. It's pretty simple. I could get into the specifics for a half hour.
What's up?
There you go.
Anthony, do they have assignments in all states? Yeah, you can do an assignment in any state. Are the legal in all states? It is illegal. It is legal in all states. However, you're not selling the actual house, right? You have to understand that you're only selling the paper. You don't own the house. You can't sell what you don't own. When you try to do that, that becomes illegal, right? The last one is there a minimum or maximum time frame between me receiving it for 100 and resell. That's all about negotiation. It depends on how good you are as a negotiator, and it depends on what you can put in your contract, right? We only really need 30 days, but we get it done in about 5. 5 to find the buyer, and then it takes about 10 to 14 to close, depending on if the title's clear or not, right?
And so if you guys are brand new and this is kind of new to you, or you've kind of been researching it or looking at it or whatever it is, the biggest thing that you want to focus on, a lot of people focus on building that buyers. If they focus on like building their CRM or figuring out, number one, pick a damn marketing channel, right? I'll share with you a couple of different marketing channels. Bandit Sign is a great marketing channel. Cold Calling is a great marketing channel. RVM is a great marketing channel. PPC is a great marketing channel, right? Choose a marketing channel, maybe choose 2, and just find a deal. If you're brand new to the business, I know some of this shit can get extremely confusing, okay? Find a deal, okay? And if you don't know what a deal is, you got to learn what a deal is, but find a deal.
So an example of, because a lot of you guys probably don't know, hey, I got a property over here. I saw a for sale by owner. Is it a deal? Is it a deal? A rule of thumb is you want to be anywhere between 50 to 65 cents on the dollar from where you get it under contract. Meaning that it's a property that's worth $100,000. You want to get it under contract for anywhere from 50 to probably like 65K, right? And you probably can sell that contract for about 70K, 75K, depending on the area. Like we just got one property under contract today in Fresno, California. The ARV, which means after repair value, is $145,000. So meaning all fixed up, right? The property's worth $145,000. We got it under contract for $75,000. So we could probably sell that piece of paper probably for about $85,000. And so that's a quick $10,000 spread right there. And that's pretty much as far as value. If you stick to that between 55 cents, something like anywhere, 60 is really the middle spot, but anywhere from 55 cents to like 70 cents on the dollar, 65 cents on the dollar, you'd be good to go. That's a good deal.
And I'll share with you again, I'm going to kind of talk and assume everyone's somewhat new. If you want practice, free practice, because obviously marketing could cost money, right? It may cost some money to get some marketing going. But if you want free practice and spending $0 on marketing, go to Craigslist. Go to Craigslist and go to the for sales by. This is gold. This is gonna literally save you hundreds and thousands of dollars into money you probably invest into marketing, but don't know how to talk to anybody or analyze the deal. Go to Craigslist in your specific area or wherever you're looking to find a deal, and start to call some of those for sale by owner listings. Okay. Majority of them will probably be crap, but once in a while you will find a gem. Nevertheless, whether it's a gem or a piece of crap or waste, it's never going to be a waste of time if you're in the beginning of your real estate career, as far as the investment side, because you're going to practice talking back and forth with a live owner, practice negotiating back and forth, practice analyzing a deal back and forth, and maybe you even get to go visit the property, which we never go on appointments.
Yeah, everything that we do.
Yeah. But you might want to go on appointments. Yeah, I've probably only been on maybe 10 appointments in my entire 2 years of this business. The majority of properties that we either flip or that we assign, we never even visit the property, step foot in the property, have anything to do with actually seeing the property.
If you're gonna start off in the foreclosure, like the foreclosure sector of the business, you're gonna want to meet them face to face, heart to heart, belly to belly. But I mean, if you're gonna do other streams of marketing, you don't have to really go visit them. It just depends on how well you can talk on the phone when you're negotiating.
And it's so cool. Imagine, receiving an assignment, closing an assignment deal. You never, number one, met the owner. Number two, you've never seen the actual property. And number three, You just made, our largest assignment was on one given deal was 103 grand.
And we do about, like, guys, we do anywhere from 8 to 10 deals a month. So that's just like one of them. But let me see. Anthony said, sorry. So can you clarify real quick? Buying the assignment, putting how much? So with this whole process, there's no money, there's no credit needed at all. The only thing that you have to do sometimes is put down an earnest money deposit. But you can make the earnest money. We've had earnest money deposits of like $5. So if you don't have $5, then I don't know. But to fix it up and sell the assignment for 85 to make 10K.
He's saying.
So basically, how much in marketing did you have to pay?
No, he's saying how much are you actually putting your own money. I don't think he's understanding that it's a contract.
Yeah. So it's none of your own money. So you're not coming up with the 75K, right? You're just the middle person between the buyer and the seller, right? So, but because you're bringing the two together, you're gonna make 10 grand because you're selling that piece of paper for $10,000 higher than what you initially got the property under contract for.
And a lot of you guys, I don't know if you get a recording of this. If you do, holy shit. You're gonna want to go back, and I know we talk extremely fast. That's just our style. We just get
dropship from the house.
Yeah, we just that's just our style. We just talk fast, and we just naturally in this type of environment we get fired up a little bit. But I would highly suggest to go back and watch this recording because we drop these little nuggets, like the Craigslist little nugget, the property radar little nugget, the whole bandit sign little nugget, things like that. Especially when you're first starting out, are going to literally save you so much time, money, energy, effort. Because like we said, we started door knocking foreclosures, which is, if you're going to door knock foreclosures, welcome to the game. Welcome to the game, baby, because you never know what to expect. Yeah, you get a hustle muscle from knocking foreclosures. I think Tony said, what's stopping the owner from working with the real estate person versus me? Tony, I mean, when you're in our ball game and you're an investor, plenty of things, right? Number one, we close very quickly, right? We close in 10 days. Number two, no hassle, right? We're not going to have people coming in and out of your house. Number three, we're not going to have people driving by. We're not going to have your house on the open market. Your house is not going to be on Zillow. Your house is not going to be on Trulia. We're going to pay all the closing costs for you. And number, whatever number it is, it's going to be convenience, right? You don't have to worry about staging the house. You don't have to do a thing. We'll buy your house as is with tenants, and we can close in 10 days. So that's why a lot of people like to go with us rather than going with the real estate agent. Yes, we might be a little bit less than what you can get on the open market. However, how much is your time worth to you? If we can close it in 10 days, but it's going to take 90 days to close it with an agent because they're going to have to do a FHA loan, and it takes 90 days to get all that stuff, appraisal and all that's going back and forth. And at the end of it, they default on the loan, or they don't qualify for the loan.
Yeah, the deal can fall through.
The deal can fall through really easy, man. So we have the control, we have the cash, or we can bring the cash buyer to the table, and that's why a lot of people like to go with us.
Again, that's all going to be your sales skills as well. Whether you're negotiating belly to belly or through the phone, you're going to have to somewhat sell that owner on why he should go with you. Hey, Mr. Seller, not only will we close this thing pretty quickly, pick a date. We can close on any given day that you want to close. We can make sure that we can close on that particular day. Hey, Mr. Seller, we're going to pay all cash. Hey, Mr. Seller, we're not only going to pay all cash, but we're going to cover the closing costs. Hey, Mr. Seller, you don't have to pour a penny back into the property. You can leave it in as-is condition. No fixing, no repairing, no maintenance, no real estate commissions. I'm telling you, we can get this thing done yesterday if you wanted it to be yesterday, Mr. Seller. And all this trash, all this debris, all this old couch, all the appliances that are beat up, the dog that's in the backyard, all the old tools and all the junk that's laying around, you leave it in as-is condition. You don't have to worry about it, Mr. Seller. We're going to take care of it. You just take care of all the things that you want, Mr. Seller, and we're going to be able to still close this thing out. And lastly, if you need moving assistance of some sort, okay, then we could possibly assist you in that, right? Throw in these little baby incentives depending on how big you think the deal is going to be. So that comes to negotiation, number one. And number two, sales skills, right? Sales skills, huge. I mean, tenacity and just the willingness to find a deal.
And control too, and posture.
Once you get that first one, and you're going to be feeling some type of way. I just made 50 grand or 15 grand or 30 grand, whatever it is. On assignments alone, we roughly do between 8 and 10 every single month on a spinning wheel, right? That means every single month it's 8 to 10 deals. plus, you know, any deals that we have that we're flipping, and plus those little wholesale deals. So, I mean, in a given month, we could do 15 deals, you know, and they can range anywhere from 15 grand all the way to 100 in the profit of these particular deals on a spinning wheel. Obviously, we've been in the game for a little bit. We have these processes, you know, and procedures set in place. We have employees that run them for us now. But in the beginning, I mean, we were doing everything.
So we got some more questions, guys. What if you can't sell the piece of paper? Do you actually have to? I can't see.
Buy the house.
You actually have to buy the house. No,
Great
hell no.
question.
It's all about how you structure your contracts, guys. You're gonna have. So, for example, one of the clauses that you can put in your contract is that it's subject to partner approval. Well, my partner could be anybody. That makes sense. You know, even if you don't have a partner, subject to your partner could be your mom. And you could just say, "Oh, my mom said that. No, we don't want to."
Not your mom. My partner is.
Anybody, subject to partner approval, subject to internal inspection that take place within 14 days, and in that way, you can. It just depends. It's all in the art of the deal. How you want to do it. It's all in the art of the deal. You don't have to buy anything. At the end of the day, you can get out of the contract hands clean if you can't sell it. When it comes to assignments, how will the sellers know you're legit and trust you? I think that comes with how you present yourself, how you carry yourself, how much confidence you have, how competent you are. You can't come like a novice. Even if you are a novice, you can kind of like fake it till you make it. Just come strong. You know, have your paperwork ready to go, be presentable, and just get the deal closed.
So what are the risks? When it comes to an assignment, there really are minimal risks because you're never necessarily investing any of your own cash into the deal. I'd say your only risk is depending on your marketing channel. You're going to have to obviously make some type of investment in marketing. But hey, you know what? There's free marketing as well. There's free marketing, Craigslist, free. If you went on Craigslist right this very second in whatever your marketplace is, you know, whether you're in Dallas, whether you're in LA, whether you're in San Diego, whether you're in, you know, up north in Seattle, wherever you are, go to Craigslist. There are free leads right there and possibly a deal. So not necessarily very much risk when it comes to the assignments. More risk when you come into the wholesale deal and you come into obviously the fix and flip deal. But by the time you hopefully venture into those, you'll be knowing, you'll know more or less what to do. You'll probably have 10, 15, 20 wholesale deals under your belt. You'll have properly analyzed deals, so on and so forth. So very minimal risk when it comes to the assignment. But it's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of fucking effort. But I know people that got an assignment deal within their first week of actually looking for one.
Yeah, man. Yo, when I first moved to LA from DC, I got out here. I didn't know anybody, and I went to this. I think it was like a little seminar or something like that. No, it was like a little meetup group. And this guy was like, "How's everybody getting deals in LA?" And the dude goes, "From door knocking foreclosures." And so I literally that night, the same night that I found the information, I went to the property radar. I pulled the list. The next day, I mapped out every house that was a foreclosure, and then I just did that for like 2 weeks straight. And then within moving to LA, I got a deal in 2 weeks from doing that. So I think really we could tell you everything about it. And these are very generic questions. These are great questions. But I think the biggest thing is like taking action from it right away, and then you can kind of learn as you go. You know, not gonna lie. I think assignments are the way. Yeah, assignments are definitely the way to go. You don't have any risk, especially no risk at all. What's the difference between wholesale deals? Wholesale deals and assignment deals are the same way. I don't like the word wholesale. I like it. It's like a little bit more professional. Just say an assignment. What are your door knocking strategies like sales strategies, pressure close? Nick, you talk about those?
Shit. I'm going to assume that it depends on the actual, I guess depending on who it is, I think the strategy is going to be a little bit different. If it's a foreclosure situation and you're door knocking a pre-foreclosure, or they're going through a foreclosure and for a fact there's an auction date, things of that nature, and maybe the property needs work, well, shit, put yourself in their shoes. They're in a very distressed situation. So you're not going to go in there and try to high pressure them. You're going to more go in there with the ability to present a way out for them. Hey, you're a problem solver. You're listening to kind of what's going on, figuring out, hey, do they have a plan? Hey, Mr. Seller, I noticed you have a situation going on with the bank. I just came around to see if you needed any assistance. How far along are you through the process? And then kind of hear them out and figure out what the hell's going down. But if you're knocking, an absentee owner or something like that, then it could be a little bit more aggressive because they're not necessarily in a distressed state. We started off in the foreclosure business, a very interesting business to be in. We don't necessarily target foreclosures as much anymore, but still a hot list to target because these people are in a distressed situation. They're back on their mortgage, and 9 times out of 10, not only are they back on their mortgage, but they probably have all kind of other situations happening, divorce, child support, all kind of different stuff could be taking place, but a very, very hot list. So it depends, to answer your question, depends on necessarily who the owner is. You're going to kind of approach them a little bit differently.
Yeah, and another thing too is you're not going to knock on the door and be like, hey, I want to wholesale your house. You never want to say nothing like that.
Never say
nothing like that. Another little trick too is what you want to do is you want to go to FedEx. You didn't hear this from me. You want to go to FedEx and you want to go take some of those envelopes because they're free, right? And you want to take some of those hard envelopes and then you want to take like 50 of those, 20 of those, or whatever. And then if they don't answer the door, you want to leave a letter inside of the little FedEx envelope and leave it at the door. And then all you have to do is just refill that every time you go out the door knock. So that's something that nobody does. They might leave it in a little envelope, but if somebody has a FedEx package at their door, they're gonna open it up no matter what. And then what you can do is you can leave like a nice little letter in there, and the next thing you know, that's gold. That's like a quick little secret for you guys.
Jacob, 111. I'm skipping to your question because I like your question a lot. So do you keep following up with distressed sellers? Jacob, you follow up with everybody. I'm sure you probably heard this a million times. You follow up until people die. Either you do or they do. Or until they flat out say, I'm never, ever going to sell you this piece of property. Don't you ever call me again. Then you can maybe stop following up. That's when we probably delete them out of our CRM that has probably thousands of leads from the past 2 years. But you follow up until somebody says flat out, don't you ever call me ever again. Stop knocking on my damn door. I'm never going to sell this. I'm going to die within this property. And not only am I going to die in the property, they're going to pull me out of the property, but I'm going to pass it along to my kids and their kids and their kids and their kids. You're never going to get this piece of, okay, that's when you stop. Okay. But they don't say that to you. Follow up until somebody dies with it. Either you do and they do. Get creative with that shit. Not only call them, leave a note on their doorstep, leave a note on their car, send them some mail. Whatever you have to do, get creative as hell, because that deal could be the difference between you living, driving a Camry or you driving,
Yeah, I mean, one deal can change your life, man. Like for real. How old do you have to do to start? How old do you have to be to start with assignments? Whenever you're ready, man. It could be any age. I'm not gonna. I mean, if you're confident enough and you can show yourself, present yourself well, you're presentable, and the person actually believes that you have the capacity and the ability to buy their house and they're going to sell it to you, it could be any age. And then also as far as agents, I don't know who asked that question, but somebody asked if agents can do assignment. Yeah, agents definitely can assign properties. I think you just have to disclose it, or you don't go through your actual broker or your actual listing. You just put it in your personal name and then you assign it to somebody else. You don't have it connected with like the agency or the broker. You're gonna have to act as if you just went to go buy this house yourself in your personal name, and then you're gonna go ahead and assign it to somebody else.
Okay, I think Jacob, you said, I know it depends on the seller, but how many times have you followed up with people before? I have followed up with somebody probably 30, 40 times. 30, 40 times before I got a deal done. That's when I was actually following up. Now I don't necessarily, I'm not on the acquisition side as much anymore. I do talk to sellers from time to time. We have acquisition people and employees that are just fucking murderers and killers on the phone, that are brokering these deals and negotiating back and forth with the sellers. But the way that we run our business, and I guess my philosophy when it comes to this empire that we have, is I try not to ask or hire people to do things that I've never necessarily done. I think that's just one of my philosophies, because it can better help me in training them and I know what they're going through. So anyways, when I used to call the sellers back, I was probably, I'd say 30, 40, 50 times. Not only did I call them 30, 40, 50 times over like a 6-month period, but I would send them mail. I would show up at their doorstep, or I'd send someone to show up at their doorstep. I'd pay someone to go knock on their door, just as creative as humanly possible. And some of these deals have netted us, man, man, 30, 40, 50, 60.
Yeah. Talk about life changing. Yo, this business is, I think it's like it's got to be top 3 in the world. Fastest way, if you know what you're doing, the fastest way to go out and be able to make, $20,000, $30,000. I mean, you can go out, like you can drop us off any city in the entire country and we can come out and we can make a cool 20, 30 before we leave in like a couple of days. Like, it's so simple. If you know exactly what you're doing, all you have to do is find, say for instance, you use the Craigslist method, right? So you find a property on Craigslist. Imagine you find 10 properties for sale by owner on Craigslist. Okay, you offer them 50% of the Zillow value. Then you go to the auction. You get it under contract. Say, for instance, you have to go through 100 properties to get one under contract. You get it under contract, locked up, 50%. So if Zillow says it's worth $100,000 and you get it locked up at 50 grand, right? You take that contract, you go to the auction. Okay, you go get a list of 10 people, write their names down, write their emails, write their phone numbers, right? Then you go sell that contract for $60,000. Okay, then you go close that deal and then open up escrow, and then about 10 days from there, you're gonna get a check for $10,000. Take that little spread. You can do that anywhere in the country. It has to be like one of the fastest ways, like one of the best ways to make income. So it's that simple. When you keep it simple, it's super easy.
So I think everyone's wondering, number one, how to find buyers. You want to break that down a little bit more?
Yeah. So as far as buyers, the whole thing about the auction, right? If you go there, you go presentable. All you have to do is just get a little piece of paper, right? This is how I did it back in the day. You get a piece of paper, and then you say, "Hey, my man, I see you're at the auction. I saw you just bid it on that one property. Are you open to looking? Are you open to receiving more discounted properties in this area?" Yeah, I am, man. Put me on your list. Okay, cool. What's your phone number? Okay, cool. What's your name? Okay, cool. What's your email? Right, and you just gotta hustle, and you gotta get 10 of them, and then that's really all you gotta do.
It really depends on how bad you want it.
Yeah.
As well. I'll share with you a couple of different methods on how to find free buyers and Craigslist again. Okay, what I would recommend and highly recommend is if you do, it's kind of sometimes a little tricky marketing your property because you're going to get some, BS buyers. So for example, you have a property in the contract, you can't find a buyer, you can put it on Craigslist. 9 times out of 10, the seller's not going to find out. They're not going to be on Craigslist looking. So you'll find free buyers like that. And number 2, and this is kind of like that gray area, but I've known guys that would post fake properties on Craigslist to find buyers, meaning,
sold or what?
Just to get something sold.
Yeah.
For example, if I need a buyer in this specific zip code, when I go to Craigslist and I, put a property in there as far as a picture and put the numbers that make it look attractive, you're going to get a flood of guys that are calling you trying to buy that particular deal. And when they call, they say, "Hey, is the deal still available?" And you're like, "Hey, you know what? I just sold this particular deal, but are you looking for any more? Okay, what's your criteria? Okay, what are you necessarily looking for? Okay." And then you just add them to your database. You'll probably have an influx of, depending on how attractive you made that potential deal look, you'll get an influx of calls. Last free nugget is there's different real estate groups. You can probably Google it in your specific area, go on Facebook, in your specific marketplace, your specific city. There's free meetup groups. I've known guys that were just extremely aggressive, and they would wear these shirts, and it'd be like, "I buy houses" or something like that.
Slap a logo on the car.
Yeah, slap a logo on the car, slap a logo on your shirt, go to these real estate groups, and then start fucking talking to people and say, "Hey, man, do you buy property?" And start networking. Show up to these real estate groups, man. They're usually free, or they're like $5 to get in on a Thursday night in your specific marketplace, whatever it is, and go network with people. If you're a younger guy or younger girl, and you're in your mid-20s, or you're in your early 20s, or you're 19, who gives a shit, right? They're going to be your best friend because you're going to bring a property to them where they're going to pay you, right, for that assignment fee. And they have 9 times out of 10, they have no problem paying you. And secondly, they're going to be able to flip that property for a profit. Before, when we were first when we were getting started in the business, we were just assigning everything, assignment, wholesale, assignment. Now we're looking for properties to purchase. And so now people that, other wholesalers and people that are doing assignments bring us property, and they're our best friends, right? Because number one, we don't mind paying an assignment fee, 10, 15, 20 grand. We'll pay you the 20 grand. And we're going to be best friends with you because value for value. Number one, we're paying you money for bringing the property to the table. Number two, we're going to get to flip it and make a profit on the back end, take all the risk.
So it's a win-win.
It's a win-win. So if you're out there and you're, and you're just getting started, you've been in the business for a little bit, you're looking for a cash buyer, add us to your list. Depending on the marketplace, I mean, we'll buy literally throughout the country, but primarily we're in California, Texas, Maryland. If you're in any of those 3 states, or Vegas, or Nevada, whatever it is, those 4 states, add us to your list, shoot us deals. We'd love to, begin to do business with a couple of you guys who are getting started in the business.
I think one thing to note is it's not a business you can just sit on the computer and hope to God it works out, right? You just got to get out there.
You gotta get out
just got to
there.
do it, you know?
I think in the beginning, just to add to kind of what Bun said, I think in the beginning, you definitely, it's more like active. And then what you can kind of do, because this is definitely a scalable business. I mean, you can delegate all the different tasks in this business. But in the beginning, yeah, you definitely got to get out there, get your nose dirty, and go make go make it happen. You got to be the face of it. You got to really push. You got to have that drive factor, because if not, I mean, a lot of people will fail in this business. But all you got to do, man, is a numbers game. Once you hit those numbers, statistically, you'll get a deal. And the only thing about it is, I think every business is a numbers game. The only thing about this one is once you hit it, like once you hit your project, once you hit your actual numbers, the payoff is just, if you think about energy for energy, the payoff is a lot bigger. There's some businesses where you got to do a lot of numbers and you only get, $1,000 back. But like with this business, you can do a lot of numbers, same amount of numbers, same amount of pounds of rush, same amount of, outflow, but the inflow that comes back is a lot bigger. You're talking 10, 20, 30, $40,000 spreads. And so that's the only difference about this business.
Nelson, I live in DFW. Real estate is booming out here. Max Nuggets from giving right now. Man, we just bought a house. We just closed today on a house in Garland, Texas, man. So you're right. Texas, DFW, Dallas area is booming.
Chris, is there a pre-written contract? Guys, we're gonna give all of our stuff out. A lot of the stuff that we have. Go to what's the name of that website? Go to Millennial
Flippers.
Millennial Flippers with an S, FLIPPERS.com. Millennialflippers.com. We'll give you all the contracts and everything.
We'll give you the majority of things that you need to get started. And part of this business, one thing that we learned, the more value we can give, it always comes back. And so for you guys being on this call, being a part of this specific program, we're going to give you.
Is it just a capture page for now?
Yes, just a capture page. And we'll be able to just put your email in there. We can forward you all the different, so a couple contracts and just a couple of things that you're going to need to really get your business off the ground and point you in the right direction. It's all about value.
Maximilian, what is that? Octavian, last example I didn't get. It's moving. What does it say? Maximilian?
Let me scroll up
a little bit.
Something about it.
Octavius, in the last example, I didn't get it. Do you resell the purchase contract for $10,000? And the buyer will get the house for $60,000.
Yes, and we're getting it under contract for $50,000. So pretty much what happens is the buyer's gonna get it. The buyer's gonna get it for $50,000, right?
We're gonna pull the table for it.
Yeah. The buyer's gonna get it for $50,000, but on top of that, you're gonna have it through escrow. You're gonna get paid a compensation agreement, which is basically your assignment fee. So he's only gonna pay closing costs on $50,000. But your fee is going to be added on top, which is $10,000,
like a finder's fee.
Like a finder's fee, which is paid out of escrow.
So we'll be able to break down some of the basic stuff here. Again, we don't want to get too in depth and confuse anybody, but I think understanding what an assignment is, Octavius will go ahead and give an example on what an assignment actually is. I think it's going to help a lot of you guys. And then I'll go in and kind of touch on a couple points as well. So he's going to kind of break down, I think just more or less in the most simplistic terms as humanly possible, what an assignment actually is.
Guys, I have the best handwriting. I swear to God, watch.
No way, it's better than mine.
Yeah.
Mine looks like mine looks like dog shit.
Essentially, what assignment is, right? What assignment, meaning that you have this property right here.
All right, let's fix the mic,
right?
Steven.
You have this house right here. What you want to do is wrap this house in a contract. Right? So once you get this property under contract, then you want to sell this piece of paper. So imagine if you get this house under contract for $50K. Okay? So you get this property under a purchase agreement, under a purchase contract that says and or assigns for $50,000. Then what you want to go out is not sell the house, but you want to sell this piece of paper for $10,000. So you're marketing the paper for $60,000. The buyer doesn't know how much that you got the property under contract for. Never give up your goal. That makes sense. Then what you want to do is you want to go to the courthouse steps, you want to go to the auction or whatever, to go find a guy who will buy this house. By the way, all fixed up, this house is worth $100K. So if the house is worth $100K, you got it for $50,000, right? You're going to go find a buyer to sell this piece of paper for $60K. So then you're going to make a $10K spread that's going to equivalent to $60K at escrow. So the buyer is going to buy it for $50K, but on top of that, he's going to pay you a $10,000 assignment through escrow, which is going to, obviously equal 60 grand. And then this is your spread. So the seller's going to get 50, you're going to get 10, the buyer's going to get the house.
And the reason why he's willing to pay the 60 grand is because he's going to take that house and he's going to make the proper renovations or whatever it probably needs to happen. And he's going to probably either hold it as maybe a rental, depending on where it is, whatever it is, or he's going to fix and flip that property. So he's in the property 60K, and he's going to maybe he's going to put some work into it, and he's going to try and resell it for 100K. Obviously, his goal is to make more than he paid you, but he's going to take all the risk in, number one, owning the piece of property, paying insurance, having contractors, having people go put work into the property, whatever it is. He's going to take on all the risk of actually flipping the property, where you have, literally no money invested. The only money you have invested is that thing that we call marketing, okay? And anything that comes up miscellaneous, But your biggest thing that you should be focusing on, now that you know what an assignment is that thing that we call marketing, which will generate.
So Trevor.
Leads, baby.
Yeah, it's all about marketing and frequency of marketing to generate the numbers, so that you can go through the numbers to get, the amount of leads that it takes to get a contract. And I think Trevor, you said a serious question. Oftentimes you cannot put an offer in a property without pre-approval from the bank. So these are all cash deals, all cash or hard money. You're not using the loan. So that's why everything moves so rapid and so quick, because there's no loans involved. There's no appraisals involved. It's strictly cash, quick and fast.
Okay, let's see. And the seller who gave you the opportunity to get 30% flow. Okay, I'm from Calgary. Okay, assignment market. Being from BC is booming. Is the Canadian assignment market in BC, particularly Vancouver, hotspot or desaturated? I wouldn't know necessarily the Canadian hotspots because obviously it's a different country. So
the thing about being in Canada, we had the same conversation with on the plane. The thing about being in Canada is if you're in Canada, you can do virtual assignments, right? You can go find somebody who's in Texas, right? And all you got to do is bang on Craigslist, line up leads for somebody. You can have a partner in Texas. He goes on the appointments, and you find all the deals. If you know how to work it, if you know how to sell, you can put it all together for him, and then you guys split the fee down the middle, and you guys break bread. You bring in a 20 grand deal, you get 10, he gets 10, he wires it to your bank account just like that. You don't even physically have to be here.
Biggest thing is, depending on your vision of this whole thing, the vision will take, if the vision continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger, your business will never necessarily ever stop. In the beginning, I'm not going to lie, you're doing a lot of the work. You're talking, you're setting up your marketing channels, you're talking back and forth, maybe you're going on appointments and things of that nature. But it depends on where your vision is. Now, if you necessarily want to grow it into this huge empire and hire people, have employees, and have a systematic business model where you kind of generate leads and deals and your marketing kind of goes off by itself, then you can grow it to that. It did take us probably about a year and a half maybe a year to really scale it and really get it to where we want it to be. And realistically, we can grow it to 20 assignments a month and maybe, 5 or 10 flips a month. Not necessarily lines up with our goals, but I'll tell you what, you can do, 2 to 3 assignments a month. You're probably making, depending on your marketplace, like here in California, you're doing 2 to 3 assignments a month. You're at
45 grand.
You're making at least 40 grand a month.
Yeah.
At minimum 40,000 a month on just 2 or 3 assignments. If you're here in California. Now I know some guys that do a lot of assignments like in Tennessee and things of that nature. The assignment things are going to be a little bit smaller. We used to do business, or we did a couple of deals in this place called Tulsa and Wichita, Kansas. Okay, you had never done a business. You never done an assignment until you've done one in this place called Wichita, Kansas. You can buy a house all fixed up, 3-bedroom, 1 bath for like 50 grand.
Ryan. Yeah, bro. Yeah. You can do high end. You can do high end home assignments. You're gonna have a little bit more sophisticated buyer. You're gonna have a little bit more sophisticated seller, and you're probably gonna have to come down with a hefty earnest money. But I mean, hey, it's all worth it. You got to pay to play sometimes.
See, the price of house matter I would like to assign.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that was the one you just answered. Spike. Okay, so once you find the cash buyer and connect him to seller, is your part done and the seller and buyer work to close the sale? Okay, so you're gonna have to still work the entire deal until the final day of closing. But you're bringing everybody together, right? And who's the neutral third party is your escrow company, right? So you're not out of the deal. Once you find the buyer and you connect them to the seller, I mean, necessarily your buyer and seller probably won't ever meet. The sellers never necessarily even find out. It's an assignment. At least we built it into our contracts. And, some places are non-disclosure states, but some places you have to.
Be careful with that. You want to make sure, like in the state of California, we don't have to, the seller doesn't never see how much we make, even though it's not a big secret, but the seller never sees how much we make. So some states, it's an exposure state where they show how much you make on the HUD. But so to make the long story short, you want to have a good escrow agent. That's like one of the first things you do when you get started and you have a contract. You got to go find a good escrow agent, depending on if it's an attorney state or an escrow state. You have to find somebody who works with cash buyers. So the best way to do that is once you go to the auction and you get a list of like 10 buyers, I would call them individually and say, hey, who do you use your escrow with? Hey, who do you do your escrow with? Hey, who do you do your escrow with? Get like 5 escrow companies lined up and then start interviewing them. Hey, do you work with assignments? Hey, have you ever done a double close? Hey, do you know about wholesale deals? Start talking to them about this. And if they're familiar with it, they've been in the business, 10 years or more, then that's probably who you want to do business with. Because we've had deals where, we blew the deal just because of escrow company. And escrow companies can blow the deal if they're not familiar with assignments.
Yeah, so just vet the escrow company. I mean, the first ever deal we actually did was in the deal in LA, and we went through 4 different escrow companies. It was a tax default. They were going through foreclosure. There were squatters in this property, and the action date was like 30 days before we actually got it under contract. And I can get into intricate details on this particular deal, but the assignment on it was 90 grand. So we should have made probably.
We're supposed to make 140 grand. And another thing, just to add to this whole learning experience, we went through 4 escrow companies to close this deal. We went to freaking 4 escrow companies to close this deal. We found a buyer, but he was like a bogus buyer. We drove all the way down to, I think it was San Pedro. It's a little area in California. We picked up a $60,000 earnest money deposit check, took it to the escrow, and the escrow saw the assignment fee. They freaked out. They didn't know how to do the deal. Went to another escrow company. They freaked out. They didn't know how to do the deal. $140,000 assignment, right? They didn't know how to do the deal. Went to a third escrow company. Buyer ended up dropping out because his money from China, they was like, oh, I can't do it. He asked for $60,000 back, gave it back to him. Then we had to go find a new buyer and a new escrow company, but we only had about 3 days before the auction happened. So we ended up assigning it to somebody last minute. It was like the picture perfect deal. It was crazy.
So we should have made 140. We ended up making 90 grand on the deal.
Yeah, we took a haircut on it, but they could close it. They could get it done. Either that or nobody made money. It'll go to auction and we'll all lose it.
But they didn't end up flipping that house for probably a year because of the squatter situation, because I think there was some like kids living there that necessarily were kind of they were like special needs kids, and it was just a crazy situation with that particular property, and the house was like tore up from top to bottom. But what would you do? I mean, you're going to put it all together with 140 grand on the line with just one deal. People don't make that in 2 years.
Yeah, it takes a while. So I think any idea how competitive wholesale is in the Bay? Yeah, wholesaling in the Bay. The thing about competitive markets, right? Give the seller a lot of money. Just find somebody who's going to pay a little bit more. And that's it. And that's your spread. It's really not. Some markets have more crabs in the bucket than other ones, crabs in the barrel, whatever, than other markets. But just find a buyer who's going to pay high, and then you can start getting the seller a little bit more money if it's competitive, or just go to another market. You don't have to stick to one market. You can move around and figure out what works. Once you find your groove, go deep.
So what happens if you don't find a buyer in time? Well, here's the thing about the buyer situation. Then you probably don't have a deal. That's probably the first situation. Oftentimes, you may have a deal, you just can't find a buyer. then you're not being resourceful enough. If you know you have a deal and you're certain you have a deal, then you got to get resourceful as shit and go out there and find that buyer. And if you still can't find a buyer, then maybe you can co-wholesale it with somebody else, and they could bring the buyer to the table. And they can get a percentage of the assignment fee. But if you can't find a buyer, if you shot it to 10 buyers and they all passed on it, it's probably not a deal. So that whole thing comes down to analyzing deals and knowing when you have a deal and when you don't have a deal. A lot of times when you get first involved, you talk to a seller and they, you meet them at a price and get it under contract, but you didn't necessarily properly analyze the deal, and it's not really a deal. So you completely wasted your time. Great learning experience, but you end up with nothing because you didn't necessarily analyze the deal properly.
To kind of add to that too, what you can do is if you can talk to the buyers who passed on the deal and be like, okay, well, what would you pay for it? Okay, well, what would you pay for it? And then what you want to do is you want to go to the seller and you want to negotiate a price reduction. So then once you negotiate a price reduction and you know that number, so say for instance you have it under contract for $80,000, and the most somebody will pay for it is $70,000. So now you need to go to the seller and say, hey, I got to come down. I got to come down because this, and this. For example, it needed more repairs than what we originally estimated. So we're going to have to come down to $55,000. And then now everything on top of that is spread because now you know what your buyer is going to pay for it. So now you actually turn what wasn't a deal into a deal. So that's a quick little way to do that. Is escrow and title company the same? Essentially. Title company, it's a little different, but essentially it's the same.
So let's see, what is your ideal percentage profit margin? Depends on your marketplace. I would say in California, maybe $15,000, but it just depends on your marketplace. As far as the profits on if we're talking purely on just assignment deals.
As far as percentage though.
I feel like it's different each deal.
Yeah, it's different each. Yo, we've had deals that are like $3,000. We've had deals that are $100,000.
We had a deal at $750 on the assignment fee.
Yeah.
And we've had them that been a six-figure assignment fee, in 20 days. So it just depends on your marketplace and depends on that specific deal. It depends on your purchase price or your on what you got it under contract for, right? So you can use tools like renegotiation to kind of bump that down. Or maybe you can, get it under contract and then go ahead and maybe you want to go on an appointment and you want to say, and you kind of know, okay, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, maybe gain some data from that walkthrough to be able to bump down that purchase price, right? Because if you get a property under contract and no one wants to buy it, you tell the buyer, hey, Mr. Buyer, I know you don't want to buy it for, $150,000. Where would you buy it at? And he says, well, I'd buy it. I could buy it for sure for $140,000, right? So you can go back down there and maybe try and negotiate a $15,000 discount or whatever, $20,000 discount by going on that appointment, right? You go on the appointment, the house is a lot worse. You just kind of create that sales, increase those sales skills and kind of sell them on hey, Mr. Seller, I went on the appointment and you didn't tell me that X, Y, and Z was broken. X, Y, and Z was going to need repair, and X, Y, and Z was falling apart. X, Y, and Z was, just completely thrashed. And, unfortunately, Mr. Seller, we're not going to be able to be at the $150,000 price point. But what we can do is be at $135,000, and maybe based off of your due diligence in that walkthrough and your sales skills, things of that nature, you can get it down to $135,000. They agree, then you can go ahead and assign it to the guy for $140,000 or whatever. Kind of reverse engineer that specific deal. So again, comes down to marketplace, comes down to purchase price, and comes down to just sales skills. I've negotiated down a property. $35,000. I've negotiated down a seller by $35,000, and ended up making like $27,000 on the assignment fee because I was able to negotiate him down $35,000. Be careful with that. Don't get greedy with it because sometimes you will piss those sellers off, and they will say, you know what? You're calling me. You're beating me down. I don't want to do business with you, and then they will cancel the entire fucking deal. So just be careful with that negotiation.
You can push it. You gotta know when, you can push it, but you gotta know kind of when to stop. But you like to push it a little bit. No?
Yeah, we
push it a little bit, but you gotta know what you're doing though. You can't just push it because you gotta know how far you can go. Are banks smarter nowadays for a sale not to go down within 10 days? Banks. We don't use banks. Yeah, with this process, guys, all you're gonna use cash. You're gonna use hard money, so it's not gonna be. Banks won't be involved in this process. No. They won't have anything to do with the deal. once you talk to the seller, how fast can an assignment contract be generated? Well, if I'm talking to the seller, the contract's going to get generated today, and the seller's going to sign the contract today. We'll have it closed probably in about 10 to 14 days. So that's the mentality that you kind of want to have. You know, it might not happen today, you know, but it could happen. If you follow up with them at least like 10 to 16 times, you can normally get something under contract if they're open to selling.
I think someone had said, how do you find ARV? Okay. That's going to be, you know, there's different platforms and tools that you can use to be able to find the after repair value. It's going to be running some comparables. And, you know, you're going to have to kind of figure out that particular platform that you're going to use to get that specific data. But you can use free things like Redfin.
Yeah.
You can use Redfin, you can use Zillow, or you can, you know, try and maybe work with an agent of some sort that can run them through the MLS. But running your comparables, you're going to have to network like crazy and be able to get some tools to be able to use. What's one of the ones that we use? A free one, ECOMMERCE. That's a free nugget that you can use to find some comparables and figure out that ARV. www.icomps.com, and you can go ahead and I think it's nationwide. You can go ahead and run comparables with that particular website. It's free, and it's something, you know, data is pretty accurate.
Yeah, easy way to do it too. And this is, you got to watch though. It has to be prices because like there's some areas of the country where homes are, you know, $20,000, $30,000. Be careful with those areas. But if you live in an area where the home prices are anywhere from $100,000 to $300,000, you can do this anywhere. Is a quick little tip. So when you get a property address, go to Zillow, go to Trulia, go to Redfin, and then go to ECOMMERCE, right? And then what you want to do is you want to find the lowest estimate, and then you want to offer 50% of that. Start at 50, never go higher than 60% of that value, and then get it under contract. And that's how you come up with your offer. But as far as how do you do the ARV and the whole 9 yards,
I think what you just said is crazy.
Gold, bro.
This is gold. This is like you can literally pull an offer out of your ass without ever running a comparable. You want to show them how you did that? Let's just pretend I go to Zillow, okay, and the Zillow is $200,000. I go to Redfin, right, and the Redfin's price on that particular property is one. Let's just pretend it's 189, and I go to ECOMMERCE. Right, ECOMMERCE, and the property value is just pretend it's 212. Okay, and I go to Trulia, and the property value, let's just pretend all these numbers are out there, and it's a 199. Right, so he said offer what 50 to 60% of these particular values.
and if you're just getting started out, to make it easier, go on Craigslist, offer everybody who has a property that's worth anywhere from $100,000 to $300,000. Go to all these sites. If you find the lowest one was 189, 50% of 189 is whatever it is. Offer that. Then go to the courthouse steps, right? Go find a buyer. Tell them, hey, I got a property and then offer them at 65% of what the ARV is. And then you're going to get a deal every time.
Be careful with these numbers too, by the way, because you are liable to piss some people off for sure. You're going to call them up and you're going to offer 50% of what the house potentially could be valued at. And they have access to Zillow. With some of these sellers are more competent. We've got smartphones now. They're going to put in their address on Google and they're going to click Zillow. And they're going to say, holy shit, my house is potentially worth $200,000. I'll tell you guys right now, Zillow is probably wrong 50% of the time, by at least $20,000 to $50,000 too high or $20,000 to $50,000 too low. But to be safe, if you get a property under contract, 50 to 60% of these values, it's gonna be a deal.
It's gonna be gold.
It's gonna be a deal.
And then eventually you're gonna learn how to what to sell it for. You're gonna get your VIP cash buyers list. You're gonna be be better, but get a little money in your pocket first. Make a little 10, 15, 20 grand real quick. And then once you make that money, you're like, okay, I'm ready to level up. Then you can start selling them for a little bit more, paying a little bit more, the whole 9 yards. And then you can start to get into the next concept, which is hotel deals.
And so, to kind of piggyback, and I don't know how much longer we're going to go with the questions. The biggest thing when it comes to this business model, assignments, obviously you want to get into hotel deals. Obviously, maybe you want to do some fix and flips, or even if you're an agent and you're tuning in. Biggest thing is hustle, motherfucking hustle. Because if you're not hustling, you're not on, Craigslist, you're not calling back sellers, you're not, you're not involved in some type of marketing, and you're not out there actively looking for that first deal, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and if you're an agent, man, like you got to be wholesaling. I don't understand why you wouldn't wholesale. Because like think about this logically, right? Imagine if you're an agent. Imagine if you're supposed to sell a house that costs $100K. If you're an agent, you're going to make 3% on your side, and plus the other agent's going to make another 3%, all in $6,000. So you're going to make $3,000 from the whole deal, right? But if you assign this property, imagine you can get that same price for $100,000. Your pitch to the seller would be like, hey, we're not going to put it on the market. You know what? I'll just buy it, right? The same property needs the same amount of work, everything. If you're an agent and you're watching this today, I'm going to change your life. It needs the same amount. It needs work. So you know you're going to bring a cash buyer to the table. Why don't you, instead of take the $3,000, why don't you just tell the seller your whole pitch? Say, hey, I'll take care of the closing costs, right? I can close this thing in 10, 14 days, right? And on top of that, we don't have to get a whole bunch of people in and out of the house. What you end up doing is instead of telling them you're going to list it for $100, because you pretty much control the conversation as an agent, you're just going to say, hey, I'll give you $90,000 for it. You get them to sign that contract, then you go talk to the same buyers instead of making that $3,000, and then go make $10,000 because you're going to get it under contract for $90,000, and you're just going to assign it to your buyer for $100K. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you're going to assign it to your buyer for $100,000. So instead of making the $3,000, you make $3,000. Your buddy over there at Keeler Williams is going to make $3,000. Your buddy over there at Remax goes and make $3,000, right? Because you work with the same people. Make $10,000. And if you're really good, you can negotiate down a little bit more and say, hey, and then make 15, So that's like a little key right there. Always go with the assignment, always go with the assignment.
A couple last questions. So how do you handle competent sellers? Is the deal done, or is there a way to keep the assignment deal? Competent sellers are very tricky, and normally you will have, occasionally you'll have them on just normal houses. So for example, in California, a normal house, maybe $300,000 house, they average $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. You'll have a couple of those thrown in there, but normally the competent sellers are going to be when you get into that over $500,000 price point as far as the ARV. Competent sellers, the way you handle them is the way that they're not going to go with the normal mumbo jumbo as you would tell somebody who's maybe in distress or has some type of fixer upper. You got to sound sophisticated, man. You got to know what you're talking about, and you got to speak their language. You got to look the part. You got to talk the part. You got to act the part. If you're going to go on an appointment, then you better know how to talk to, if you're in your early 20s or 19, or you better know how to talk to adults. You might want to take someone that looks a little bit older to be able to just walk in with you, because they're not going to take you seriously 9 times out of 10 when it comes to these higher price points.
Or you can bring a partner a partner and co-assign it with somebody who has a little bit more experience, who's a little bit more presentable, who's working to deal with you. Or you can pitch to an agent, say, hey, look, I'm getting ready to make $50,000 on this deal. I'll give you 10 if you can help me close this guy. And of course, they're going to do it every single time. So if you're resourceful, you're not going to have any problems with that situation. But if you already feel that fear in your chest, then I would just say, do a little bit more practice and learn a little bit more sales skills and plug in and plug into the inner circle a little bit more and watch all the content first. Get ready and then go out and get a little bit of confidence and then go out.
I like some of these questions now. Can you demonstrate a pitch for an assignment? So if I want to start tomorrow or as soon as possible, what is the first thing I need to do? That's a great question, my friend. If you want to start tomorrow, pick a form of marketing. Pick a marketplace, and then just go find a fucking deal. That's the name of the game. Go talk to somebody. Talk to 10 people every single day for 2 weeks. 10 potential, and I don't care how you find them. I don't care if you're going through Craigslist. I don't care if you're driving through your neighborhood and you see a fixer-upper and you go knock on the door and you say, hey, Mr. Seller, I couldn't help but notice your property. I want to see if you're maybe ever open to possibly selling, or kind of want to see where you were with the whole thing. These ones that look like crap. Talk to 10 people for 2 weeks straight, and I guarantee you, I'm not necessarily saying you're going to find a deal, but that's the first thing to do. Start to get some free experience. Craigslist, start calling these people, start having some intelligent conversations, and then, kind of just more or less go from there. But the thing you do tomorrow, pick a marketing channel, a free one, hopefully, if you're brand new to the game, and then just go find a deal.
Yeah, and to add to that, once you start looking for this stuff, man, our brain is like very funny. We got this thing called the reticular activating system. And once you start to open up your eyes to these deals, real estate deals are just going to start, like flowing.
Payton, fuck yes. Yes, start tonight.
It's going to be crazy. Yeah, that's very smart. You do this without a real estate license. I want to start. No, you absolutely need a license. No, I'm just kidding. You don't need a real estate license. You can do this with no license, no money, no credit. You just have to have confidence, and you have to have tenacity, and you have to have ambition. That's all you need. Before you door knock the foreclosures, you already had a value you want to offer the seller, correct? No, absolutely not. It's 100%.
Too much work. Yeah,
it's pretty much, it's 100% finesse at the door. Once you get to the door, you knock on the door, and then you get into your pitch.
So, are you? Yes, you are a representative. So, what's a good way to handle CRM? A couple good CRMs.
So, Augie, if you're not currently doing deals, you really don't need to spend too much time on the CRM yet. But a good CRM to start off with is a CRM called Pipedrive. That's like one of the easiest CRMs to start off with.
So we're gonna take maybe we'll take a question each, and then I'll just have a couple closing thoughts. So I have a couple closing thoughts. The biggest thing for you guys that are on the call, obviously, if you're on this particular call, you probably have some type of interest in real estate. My biggest suggestion is to go to millennialflippers.com and put in your email. We're gonna send you the basic information that you need as far as a couple contracts, as far as a couple free websites, as far as a couple things you can do to kind of get your business off the ground. Stay in touch, number one, by putting in your email to that specific landing page. And number two, probably the biggest way to stay in touch is Instagram. Nick.Lavano, Octavius Bennett. Stay in touch on Instagram. We post a lot of free shit on our story, believe it or not.
You guys write your Instagrams.
What's up?
Write your Instagrams on the board.
We post a lot of free stuff on our actual Instagram, and you're gonna be able to learn just by Instagram. Literally free content, probably literally every single day. I mean, live negotiations, live sales calls, live sales training, how to run comps is literally on our story every single day. The biggest thing is when you're looking for that mentor or whatever it is, watch their story and see if they're actually doing fucking deals. Because there's a lot of gurus and people out there that aren't even doing real deals and just selling you a bunch of bullshit. Like, watch their stories and things of that nature and see, have I seen them post like one actual deal before you go out and buy some real estate program or something like that. Stop. Okay, don't get all excited and Google some crazy shit, but see if they're actually doing some actual deals here and like just watch their real life. You know what I'm saying? See if they're actually showing you real live shit. I'm sure you have a couple closing thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think to add, I know a lot of people are asking questions. I know somebody asked about, do we skip trace lists? Guys, we're gonna really plug you guys in.
Put your information in that.
People who,
we're gonna hook you up.
We're gonna hook you up, guys. We have so many resources. We have about 15 different resources. We can teach you guys how to raise money for hard money loans. We can teach you guys all of our resources that we use for hard money loans. We can teach you guys, how you can use the credit card and take the money off the credit card and then use that as a down payment for a house. And we can show you so many different things, but I would just say plug into millennialflippers.com, and then we're going to keep you updated, with anything, answer any questions that you guys have.
As far as anything that has to do with skip tracing, shoot myself or Octavius a DM that you have. I mean, if you've been in the game, you've done a couple of deals and you understand that specific a marketing channel and that specific criteria and that specific niche when it comes to this business, shoot myself or Octavius a DM. We would be glad to share with you some very, very valuable information when it comes to skip tracing and things of that nature.
Yeah, guys, from being in this industry for a while, we know who's real, who's not real. And so we've collected a database of the best, the most cost efficient resources out there. We don't mind sharing.
Last question here. What was your MLM business, Ryan?
Rosario.
My man. First company was this company out of Phoenix, Arizona. Was it Phoenix? It was out of Phoenix, Arizona, my man. Was it Tempe or Phoenix?
Which one? Bima?
Bima, baby. Bima. Vitamins, etc. Anyways. I'll give you the whole fucking pitch right now. And then I met Josh through another company by the name of Zango, which actually I don't even think is in business anymore. But that's how Josh and I linked up. That's how Man, that's actually Octavius and I met was through Vima,
Crazy.
and then Josh and I through another MLM company. Josh used to slang some juice too. He was good at slanging juice.
Who said below the age of 18 you can't sell something with a contract?
That's true, but
yeah,
only if his name's on the contract, and there's so many loopholes.
There's a bunch of loopholes for
You
that.
can be a 17-year-old and you can be
Yeah.
doing it like your brother's name or
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, to kind of wrap things up, my biggest suggestion, my biggest clue, my biggest hint is just get out there and hit the fucking hustle button. You know, hit the hustle button, and just go find that first deal and just more or less scale from there. Just fucking get after it, right? One of the biggest things I always tell people all the time, and me and Josh joke about it, is don't be a little bitch and don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Don't be afraid to door knock. Don't be afraid to cold call. Don't be afraid to send mail. Don't be afraid to do whatever it takes to land that first deal, because that first deal is going to propel you and set you up for not just a multitude of other deals, but just to go ahead and get your business up off the ground and get you to where you want to be. So with that being said, I'm going to bring in Jeff to kind of wrap the call up. For you guys that are a part of this thing, man, my biggest thing is hit up your friends and tell them, hey, man, you got to get involved in this circle, in this network, because you want to be around the people of influence, affluence to get you, that have been there, done that, to get you to where you want to be. So with that being said, pass over the butt. We're going to go from there, guys. Great talking to you guys.
Thank you, Octavius. Appreciate you guys. I hope you guys had a good night. These guys are absolute beasts. I'm not saying that lightly. I'm not saying that just because, like, you know, I seem to be friends with all the Lovano brothers. Something to take away from tonight is I think there's a lot of people that are promoting real estate right now. I think there's a lot of people, a lot of gurus right now that are promoting wholesaling, promoting all of these different businesses. And yet, as I got to know each one, it seems that they're all just kind of lying to eventually sell a course. And that's the only reason I really vouched for Nick and Octavius to come on here, is because, you know, I spent a good amount of time over the last 12 months meeting them. And instead of them being on social media, selling courses or doing whatever like that, they were just out closing deals. And so every other real estate person I know, and I don't mean to say this in a rude way, it's just, they're just kind of fraudulent. And so I hope you guys could see the honesty and the truth and the genuineness from them. And it was real. It was really cool to have them on. I will say this, the biggest takeaway from tonight, guys, is going to be, you know, if with any real business, it's going to take a lot of effort. And if right now you guys are at a zero starting point, right, you're at a literal zero starting point, you guys want to get into this business, you don't have the connections, you don't have a buyer's list, you guys don't have any idea where to find houses or whatever, find deals, you're gonna, exactly what Nick said, you're gonna have to get your hands dirty. And this is like one of the biggest pitfalls young entrepreneurs have. It is the #1 biggest pitfall, because most people just want to sit back and let a deal come to them. Most people want to sit back and, you know, let that cash buyer list come to them. And in reality, you're gonna have to go out and build it. And eventually, when you build it to a certain point, it starts getting to the point where things go on autopilot. So I bet for Nick and Octavius, they're probably going to tell me right now, their business is kind of like a rotating wheel right now, where deals are coming in on autopilot. They have their system set up. When you don't have systems set up, you're going to have to go out and sacrifice your ego. You're going to have to go out and sacrifice your time and energy setting up these systems. I don't know, Octavius, how long did it take you to make your first deal?
First deal took
From like day one, you decided to start wholesaling?
like 3 weeks.
So 3 weeks. And I bet there's more successful people than him right now that it took them 3 months or maybe even 3 years. You're never going to know. So if you guys did like this business model, you guys kind of vibed with them. You know, you guys can follow them. Their Instagrams are right here. What I do, I'm going to ask them. I hope they do say yes. I'm going to ask them to come to the LA meetup. So I will give you guys more details on the 23rd or 24th of this month, and it'll be for next month or the month after. It'll be our first LA meetup. We're going to have a lot of entrepreneurs just like Nick and Octavius, because I wanted to bring you guys the real people doing the real things and not these internet gurus that are just selling real estate courses. In reality, they don't do deals anymore. I wanted to bring you guys real people trading in the Forex and stock market that aren't selling courses. I wanted to bring you guys real tax accountants and financial planners that are, you know, kind of helping plan young entrepreneurs' futures and help set up businesses where you guys can skip a lot of pitfalls. That's the whole point of this community. And, you know, I think we just reached 450 members today, and it's really awesome. So the game plan from here is going to be push to 500 members. We're going to see how that vibe goes. We're going to do like about 5 live calls and see if it's too packed, if there's too many questions. Tonight, I think there was the perfect amount. If we had double the people, I would have had to have someone monitoring the questions, and that's okay. But I want to make sure you guys all have time to connect with these guys. You know, we're going to do a podcast later, but in the podcast, they're going to talk more vision and more reality of the business model. They're not going to talk about specifics. Tonight, you got a lot of specifics. And even then, we can bring them back on in a month. And we can go over a specific area for like 30, 40 minutes, for example, raising money or whatever it is. Plus, you guys can plug in with their website. I hope you guys did get that. I posted the link like 2 or 3 times in the chat. And you guys can plug in their website. They'll probably start doing newsletters or whatever. I know they want to get a little bit more into personal branding, thanks to Josh and I's influence. And that's something that everybody making a little bit of money should be doing. And that call is planned for Josh and I's personal branding call. It is planned for 4 or 5 weeks from now. And that is going to be something awesome as well. So for those of you already making money, I'm going to teach you guys how to start building a personal brand. And from there, you know, you can kind of scale up. I'm not going to be able to give you everything in an hour, or 2 hour, or 3 hour call. But what I will do is split the vision and, you know, explain kind of why you need to be building a personal brand and the first starting steps. In your back office, I'm going to try to get a video for Nick and Octavius. So you guys can have a video that's kind of like very tactical. It's like a to-do list of how to start tomorrow in wholesaling real estate. I think that's an awesome starting point for most of you guys, you know. How many people are left, Steven?
65.
65?
Yeah.
So if anybody has any final questions or wants to know anything about the plan for the inner circle, let me know now before I jump off and I close out tonight. I think it was a really good session. I think you guys got a little taste of what we're going to be doing a lot more moving forward. I don't want it to only be every Saturday, Josh and I. What I want it to be is, you know, maybe 1 or 2 Saturdays a month. It's Josh and I, or just me, or just Josh. And the rest of the month is going to be bosses like this dropping mad knowledge. When is the dropshipping course dropping? So I'm not teaching dropshipping anymore. I'm kind of stepping away from the e-com field because I did not like, I don't really like how the industry is going right now. The educational e-com industry is looking very scammy, and I just don't want to put my name behind a scammy looking industry. So I'm not going to be dropping anything, but what I will say is we will do a video on eBay dropshipping. The problem is they're doing a bunch of changes in September. So in probably after September, we might release an eBay dropshipping depending on how they change up. Shopify dropshipping is easy. You guys will have a Shopify guy in the next 2 months come in here and do the same thing that, you know, Nick and Octavius just did, is drop a ton of heat that's not out there. They gave you guys some serious value tonight. And, you know, whether you're not in real estate or you're just not leveled up enough to catch the value they gave, it's okay because this video is recorded in your back office. But then we'll do Amazon dropshipping. We'll do Amazon FBA. I have my buddy Dean coming on. He's doing about 1.5 mil a year right now on FBA. He's one of the few guys I saw go from, like, you know, kind of that shit MLM vibe that I got stuck with. The company went under. I lost my income. He had the same thing happen to him. He's one of the only other people that went out and built a legit business like me. And, you know, that's why he's cool. He's a good guy I'm going to bring on for FBA if you guys are interested in Amazon FBA. And beyond that, whatever you guys request, I probably have someone for it. You know, I probably have someone. I have friends that are they're much harder to get a hold of and get a schedule for a video, but I have friends worth like $300-400 million that can come in here and drop the craziest knowledge that's even changed my life. Even, you know, I sat down and took one of my mentors to lunch about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I was like, yo, what's the deal? I was like, how do I save money better? Because I'm making a lot. I'm spending a lot on marketing. I'm spending a lot to make my life look really dope. And I was living a great life, but I was like, how do I save more? And he taught me some super essential skills that I'll teach you guys on a money webinar, a money live call that we're going to do soon. For Forex people, I'm a little hesitant because I'm still trying to find someone that I really believe in Forex. Forex is really easy to fake. So I don't mean to anyone in Forex. I don't mean to talk shit. Just know that most gurus are not real, and that's just reality. Maximilian, all the live calls are recorded. I'm not entirely sure if they're all uploaded yet. It's like, so far it's over 10 hours of content. So I'm deciding if I want to upload the raw whole video, or I want to have the editing team chop them up and make them little segments. For example, finding cash buyers. You can take all the things about finding buyers out of this video and put it into one shorter video. Social media marketing, that's going to be in the personal branding space. I think we will do a special one for social media marketing, brand image, and then another live call for making money with social media and the business of social media. That's going to be one that's coming up. But yes, all of these are recorded. We have all of them saved. They will all be uploaded if they are already not. Ads people, we have them all. Whether that is someone that's running ads for companies or someone that's running ads for Shopify or whatever, we'll have different people come on. We're gonna have ad sections. We're gonna have e-commerce sections. We're gonna have real estate sections. We're gonna have branding and social media sections. So guys, it's gonna be the all-in-one place, to get this information. I heard from the support team today that we're at 450 members right now. We've had 55 people within the first 24 hours cancel and ask for a refund from the inner circle. And it blows my mind because I'm like, the amount of value you guys are going to be given is so insane that for $1,200 a year, if you stayed in for the entire year, which I definitely recommend, I don't have time in 2 months to give you guys a million interviews and a million hours of live calls. If you give me a year to change your life, I guarantee I can make it happen because I've changed multiple people's other lives. For example, Nick Fitz, he has a couple 11 videos in this section. I took him on as a student 15 months ago, and he was driving a Hyundai, living in a little apartment in LA, has a penthouse now, drives an I8, multiple businesses. That kind of process is really easy to make happen if you stick with me for a year. But if you stick with me for like 2 months, I can't help. I just can't. I just don't have enough time to change the little fragments of your mind. Yeah, so some people canceled. I just want you guys to know that in the beginning, it's going to be a little bit rough. You're not going to have all the content in the world. But as we go, you're going to get more content like this, more amazing content like this. And I just feel sorry for those guys, honestly. So, guys, I'm tuning out. We're going to do a podcast. We might go live on the Dropout Degree Instagram. If we don't go, you got to see the podcast in a couple of days. We're going to do this with them, like a 20, 30-minute run. But, Chris, are we going to allow more people in? So the option right now is we either cap at 500. And some people are going to say cap at 500. If we cap at 500, the thing we lose is your guys' ability to network at these events. If we went to 1,500 people, we can have 200-person events. We can pay people for speaking. We can get people that, even people like salespeople, we can bring Grant Cardone on. If we have the budget to do that, we have to have that budget. So if I bring more people in, you guys have better networking abilities. We can have better events. We can have better speakers, all of that. And then we just got to figure out how we're going to do the Q&A. But if we don't, then it's just going to be this core group. And then, yeah. Later, people get all the content cheaper, though? No. This will never be any cheaper than this. If not, it'll go up as we increase people. If you don't have access to the Dropout Degree on Instagram, you need to send a DM with your receipt. Info on LA event will be coming out on the 23rd to 24th with dates, who we want to have speak, so in about a week. All right? Will everything be recorded? Yes, sir. Listen, you guys are all going to be taken care of. You guys are the OG Inner Circle group, so you guys will all be taken care of. When it comes to the newer people, if we do extend it past 500 people, we will increase the price, the monthly for sure. It just makes sense. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I want to get my night going. 11 p.m. I'm glad you guys spent the last 2 hours with us. I think you guys did amazing. I think you guys got a lot of info. And I'm pumped. I will see you guys next Saturday. All right? Peace. You're socially smart.